What if I told you 1975 wasn't only ruled by stadium giants like Queen or Bruce Springsteen? Hidden between the platinum albums and sold-out tours were songs that completely owned the radio for a brief moment and then slowly disappeared from the spotlight. These were the tracks blasting from car speakers during hot summer nights, spinning on jukeboxes in roadside diners, and echoing through living rooms across America. Some climbed all the way to the top of the charts. Others became unforgettable because of one strange story, one incredible voice, or one perfect hook. Today, we're going crate digging through one of the most fascinating years in music history to uncover 10 forgotten one-hit wonders from 1975. You absolutely need to hear. And trust me, some of these songs are way more legendary than people remember. From heartbreak anthems and dreamy love songs to synth-powered classics that sounded years ahead of their time, these tracks captured the soul of the mid-70s in ways even the biggest stars couldn't. So turn up the volume, settle in, and let's rewind back to 1975. Number 10, Sugarloaf, Don't Call Us, We'll Call You. Sugarloaf closed out their career with one of the most savage revenge songs ever written. After getting rejected by major record labels, the band responded the best way possible by mocking the music industry itself. The song included fake phone calls, dial tones, and even a parody of a record executive, and somehow the joke became a massive hit. Number 9. Phoebe Snow, Poetry Man. Coming in at number 9 is the smooth and haunting voice of Phoebe Snow with Poetry Man. In a decade filled with loud rock bands and flashy disco records, this song stood out by doing the exact opposite. It was soft, jazzy, emotional, and incredibly stripped down. No giant production tricks, no over-the-top choruses, just Phoebe Snow's rich, smoky voice pulling listeners in from the very first line. Released in 1975, Poetry Man became an unexpected top 5 hit and turned Phoebe into one of the most talked about new artists in America. Critics loved her unique vocal style, which blended folk, jazz, and blues into something that felt completely different from mainstream radio at the time. But despite the success, Phoebe never chased pop stardom the way many artists did during the 70s. She focused more on musicianship and artistic freedom, which made this song feel even more special over time. Nearly 50 years later, Poetry Man still sounds intimate and timeless, like a late-night conversation set to music. Number 8. Pete Wingfield, 18 with a Bullet. Sometimes music history creates coincidences so strange they almost feel scripted. That's exactly what happened with Pete Wingfield and his quirky 1975 hit, 18 with a Bullet. Wingfield was already respected as a talented session musician before recording the song, working behind the scenes with major artists throughout the early 70s. But this track gave him his one shot in the spotlight. The song itself was clever and playful, built around old-school radio slang. In music industry terms, With a Bullet meant a song climbing the charts quickly. So Wingfield wrote an entire track about wanting a hit record. And then the impossible happened. The song peaked at exactly number 18 on the Billboard Hot 100. Seriously, out of every position it could have landed, it stopped at the exact number in the title. That bizarre coincidence instantly became part of pop culture history and helped the song live on long after its chart run ended. Even now, 18 with a Bullet remains one of the coolest forgotten novelty hits of the 70s. Number 7, Major Harris, Love Won't Let Me Wait. If there was one song guaranteed to slow dance to in 1975, it was this one. Major Harris delivered pure romance with Love Won't Let Me Wait, a song that became one of the defining slow jams of the entire decade. Before launching his solo career, Harris had already made a name for himself as a member of the legendary soul group, the Delphonics. But this track gave him a moment all his own. The song perfectly captured the smooth Philadelphia soul sound that dominated R&B during the mid-70s. Lush orchestration, silky vocals, and lyrics dripping with emotion. Radio stations across America couldn't stop playing it, especially late at night. What made the track unforgettable was its atmosphere. Everything about it felt warm, intimate, and emotional, without trying too hard. Even decades later, Love Won't Let Me Wait still shows up on classic love song playlists and old-school R&B countdowns, proving that real soul music never goes out of style. Number 6. Gary Wright, Dreamweaver. By 1975, rock music was evolving fast, but few songs sounded as futuristic as this one. Gary Wright changed the game with Dreamweaver, a haunting track built almost entirely around synthesizers. That might not sound unusual today, but back then it was revolutionary. Most hit songs still relied heavily on guitars, live drums, and traditional rock arrangements. Wright went in the opposite direction, creating something dreamy, electronic, and completely atmospheric. The inspiration came after a spiritual trip to India, where Wright became deeply interested in Eastern philosophy and mysticism. You can hear that influence throughout the song's floating melodies and hypnotic sound. When Dreamweaver hit radio, it felt like music from another planet. In many ways, it predicted the synthpop explosion that would dominate the 1980s nearly a decade later. Even younger generations recognize the song today because it's been featured in countless movies, TV shows, and pop culture moments. One listen, and you understand why this track still feels ahead of its time. We've officially reached the top 5, and honestly, this is where the nostalgia really kicks in. So far, we've heard soulful slow jams, futuristic synth experiments, and chart stories too strange to believe. But now we're heading into songs that practically define the sound of 1975. Number 5, Pilot Magic. The second you hear the words, ho ho ho, it's magic, you instantly know the song. Pilot struck gold with Magic, one of the catchiest pop records of the entire decade. What many listeners didn't know was that Pilot weren't inexperienced newcomers. They were highly skilled session musicians from Scotland who knew exactly how to craft polished radio hits. The song was produced by legendary engineer Alan Parsons at the famous Abbey Road Studios, which gave it that smooth, crystal clear sound. Magic exploded internationally, and later found a second life in commercials, movies, and TV shows. Even people who don't know the band still recognize the chorus instantly. That's the power of one perfect pop song. And we're only getting started. Number 4, Minnie Riperton, Lovin' You. There are love songs, and then there's Lovin' You. Minnie Riperton created one of the most delicate and beautiful songs ever recorded with this 1975 classic. What makes the track even more touching is that Minnie originally sang it as a lullaby for her baby daughter, who later grew up to become actress and comedian Maya Rudolph. The song felt incredibly intimate compared to the louder rock records dominating radio at the time. Gentle instruments, soft bird sounds in the background, and Minnie's unbelievable 5-octave vocal range made the track feel almost dreamlike. When the single reached number 1, listeners were stunned by how unique it sounded. Nearly 50 years later, it still feels timeless. Number 3, Jigsaw Sky High. Before disco completely took over America, Jigsaw delivered pure drama with Sky High. Originally written for the martial arts movie The Man from Hong Kong, the song exploded internationally thanks to its massive strings, pounding rhythm, and soaring falsetto vocals from lead singer Des Dyer. The track became a top 10 hit in over a dozen countries, and briefly made Jigsaw look like the next huge global pop act. But despite the song's success, they never managed another hit close to its level. Still, Sky High remains one of the most energetic forgotten songs of the entire 70s era. Number 2, Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds, Falling in Love. Few songs capture the feeling of a 1975 summer better than this one. Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds created pure California soft rock perfection with Falling in Love. Smooth harmonies, laid-back guitars, and a melody that sounded like driving down the coast with the windows open. It became the ultimate easy listening anthem of the year. But here's the strange part. By the time the song hit number 1 on the Billboard charts, Reynolds wasn't even part of the group anymore. The band kept the name because fans already recognized it. Even though the song dominated radio in 1975, the group slowly faded from mainstream attention afterward, but for one magical summer, they were everywhere. And finally, number 1, Ace, How Long? Topping our list is Ace with the unforgettable classic How Long? Most people assume this smooth, soft rock hit is about a cheating relationship, but the truth is way more awkward. The song was actually written after the band discovered their bassist had secretly been rehearsing with another group behind their backs. That real-life betrayal gave the lyrics an edge listeners instantly connected with. Frontman Paul Carrack delivered the vocals with effortless cool, helping the song climb into the Billboard Top 10. Even more legendary, the track was recorded at the same Welsh studio where Bohemian Rhapsody was being created around the very same time. One incredible bass line, one unforgettable hook, and one of the greatest forgotten one-hit wonders of 1975. 1975 gave us legendary superstars, but these one-hit wonders proved you don't need a massive catalog to make music history. Sometimes one perfect song is enough to last forever. Now we want to hear from you. Which of these forgotten classics is your favorite? Did we miss one that deserves to be on this list? Drop your pick in the comments below.